in. We're in. Welcome, Coffee Experts Club.
Welcome back to the club.
You didn't think you were going to get it 2 weeks in a row back to back, but you just got it 2 weeks in a row back to back. Oh man, I don't know if you guys ever appreciated about this particular place that I record in, but because it used to be one of my daughter's rooms, those are stars on my ceiling.
I always thought you were like in the attic.
Glow in the dark stars, bro. It's the best thing ever. Anyway, welcome to Coffee Experts Club today. Good to see you two fine gentlemen. Next week, we're interviewing somebody pretty badass, and I'm really excited. So if you haven't put two and two together yet, as you're taking in these coffee experts, 1 week we do question and answer. The next week, we interview somebody great in the industry that we feel like has some great experience to bring to the table. We always ask them the same set of questions. What's something excellent they feel like they've learned? And then what do they feel like they've kind of got their ass handed to them in learning and have had to triage their way through and get better at. So I think that we always start with talking to them about what's something they've taught and feel like really good about, something they feel like they haven't done super good at, but have learned from. And I think that in hearing people's experiences, we can visualize ourselves, and hearing how they sussed that out or worked that out gives me solutions for things I'm working on today. So that's our hope in interviewing people. Question and answer is always kind of the follow-up. So, sometimes as we come off a call like that, maybe the next week, like, hey, so what do you guys think of this? And what do you think of this point? And how do you guys feel like this works out? So something that came up in casual conversation that we haven't really talked much about, Ben Clatterbuck, that you mentioned to me and said you thought would be a good thing for us to talk about today, was Indie Coffee Coalition.
Yes.
So maybe you've heard us kick this around. So, we've got Coffee de los Mayas is going to be rolling out here beginning of October. Drew's going to be heading down to Belize for a coffee venture down there that we are pretty excited about, and going on, starting some coffee in Belize and taking what we know here as Pacific Northwest coffee, fast drive-through coffee to Belize. We're pretty excited about that. But something that's birthed alongside of Coffee de los Mayas, as we've been looking at that together, is something that we're calling the Coffee Coalition. And the whole premise of it is we've got to work with a lot of different kinds of coffee. We've got to work with both franchises and independents. And what we found is that franchises have a lot of good systems in place, have a lot of good benefits in place. That would be really great if that could be passed on to the independents without the loss of their independence. Like where I think if you're on the fence today, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I've thought about coffee seems like a really good thing to get into. You're probably in two different camps. Either you've done it before or you haven't. And if you haven't done it before, I think franchise model is great, right? Because you're able to buy into somebody else's system. They roll up on you and they've got all of the frameworks. They can tell you exactly what size of everything that you should get, exactly how your workflow should go, what your menu should look like, who your vendor list is. They can help you maybe with some like push and pull of the city that you're going to have to go through. They can help you as you work with your contractors. They can help you with a lot of different things on the franchise side. Downside is it's not cheap. You pay into that. You pay a pretty penny to get in. You pay a pretty penny on top of a lot of the goods that you get from them downstream. And in some ways, you're beholden to them. Like what they ask of you, like it's their franchise, so they can ask of you a lot of things. And what are you going to say except for okay, because they gave you all the systems? Let's talk about independent for a little while. If you're an independent, typically you've done it before, or you're partnering with somebody that's done it before. So you don't need all of the model over here. Maybe it'd be nice to have some of the things they've got lined up, but you don't need it all. You pretty much know how workflows go. You pretty much have seen how, the things you should be thinking about. You may have some questions. That's usually where Coffee Experts is going to really help out the independents. It's like, hey, it'd be nice to sneak peek into what do they have it all framed out? Well, we've already framed it out for you in Coffee Experts Club, a lot of those things. And that's what the 35 hours of the content is, right? If you buy into Coffee Experts Club, you have 35 hours of the content where we take you through people and processes and planning and give you a blueprint for how to do grand openings. And we give you a lot of the things that maybe are a benefit over here, but usually you're one or the other when you're starting. But what we've seen with the franchises that seems to cost a lot of money if you don't really need it is some of the connections, right? Some of the things that it would just be nice. It's not necessary, but it would sure be nice and it would sure help. So we thought, let's meet them in the middle. Let's call it Indie for the independents, Indie Coffee Coalition, where we're banding together as small independents and getting them the benefits of the franchise without the fees. And so that's the premise of Indie Coffee Coalition. I'm pretty excited about it because I feel like I have a lot of dear friends who have 1 to 3 coffee shops or 3 to 5 coffee shops. And like they're not at a place yet where they can do some of the big ticket things that are really going to be needle mover on making money off of coffee. And we're going to talk about those a little bit today. But man, it would be sure cool if 3 or 5 or 10 of us could all band together and then with that collective energy, essentially get what the franchisee has without having to give up a bunch of our capital. So maybe you guys want to riff on that a little bit or tell me what you think of that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest advantages of those franchises, especially if they're big franchises, is just their buying power. You know, you have the ability to negotiate better prices. You have the ability to buy in bulk. You have the ability to get discounts on, tanker tanker carts full of product versus just getting one-offs. So as a franchise, that's like one of the best things, right? If I can buy a whole, cart's worth of cups, 20,000 paper cups at a time, I'm going to get quite the hefty discount as compared to, independent having to buy, a couple cases of cups at a time. So the buying power is great with franchise. And I think that's one of the coolest things about Indie Coffee Coalition is you're kind of getting everybody together and go, okay, say, let's get our collective resource together. And then now we can actually become the large buying power of that you usually get as a franchise, but we can all sort of pool our resources, not necessarily pool our resources, but pool our ability to purchase a product. If we're all buying cups, let's all buy our cups together, that discount, so that you don't have to go in and sell out your company to a franchise to be able to get make a good profit by cutting out your bottom line. I think it's a great idea.
Well, and for me personally, I mean, I've worked in the franchise model and I've worked in the independent model, and one thing that's important is keeping things fun and light.
Yeah, fun and light for sure. I think that Drew wanted to watch some TV behind him, which was fine. Drew, I mean, it looked like I want to take it in. If you're interested in it, let's see what they're talking about.
It just turned on. You're keeping it fun and light. And I mean, in my personal experience, transitioning from an independent into a franchise, there's a lot less fun and a lot less lightness. We talk about being able to pivot your company when you're small quickly, and most of the time out of necessity, and you can't do that when you're so big. You're bogged down by all the rules, all the different channels of communication, all the different avenues that you have to follow to get one simple thing done. Well, Indie Coffee Co. allows you to stay in that fun and light sphere and operate as if you were having the connections of a franchise or a big corporation. So keeping a lot of the personality.
Keeping your culture too. Like the minute
Exactly.
if you're looking to build a coffee company to potentially sell to a franchise or even start a franchise, like your culture is their culture. Your ideas are their ideas. You don't have ideas of your own because you have ideas given to you. So to be able to keep your own ideas, your own culture, what you want to do. If you want to sell breakfast burritos, or if you don't want to sell breakfast burritos, if you want to have a 32-ounce Christmas cup, or you don't, like, you can do all of those things outside of a franchise. So in a coalition like this, you could still keep all of those things, keep your culture. You just get the added benefits of what a franchisee would have.
I think that, I mean, that's the biggest thing is let's just speak to the obvious elephant in the room. Coffee isn't rocket science, right? We're not talking about you're starting even a restaurant, right? Like you don't need a ton of like, what kind of foods are we serving? And do I need to go hire like a professional cook, a chef to come in and create my whole menu and then like craft this whole thing? Like we're talking about coffee, right? So it's there is some ingredient mixes, but even in those things, I think some of that can come down to COGS, right? Like what do you want your cup to cost you before you put it out your window? That can generally really bang down what it is you want to offer, and even the offerings of food within coffee. A lot of that is, it depends on what kind of coffee we're talking about. If we're talking about somebody sitting down in your cafe and they're fine with waiting for 5 to 10 minutes, that's a different conversation than the 1 to 2 minute car times that we're trying to move with fast coffee, So like coffee isn't rocket science. So what you have is a lot of people who bootstrap themselves into it. They've learned a skill set. They feel like they've worked for the man long enough. They go out on their own. They're able to, like piecemeal together enough capital to be able to go and launch their first own thing. Typically that kind of personality type does not do super well with somebody telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So I think that what I see a lot of friction on in franchises is you have all these independent thinkers that try and clip into a franchise model like a Papa John's or like some of these other franchises out there where you can buy into it, Cold Stone ice cream franchise, whatever it is, like, but those people are people looking to buy into a franchise model. They've got investment money. They want to clip into a system that's been proven for a proven ROI. Like usually those are older people looking for like some sort of retirement passive income, right? Coffee's different. Typically coffee is these people that are bootstrapped independent thinkers, and then you try and clip them into a franchise model and they're like, the hell you are going to tell me what I'm going to do? Like that's not how this is going to go. But if you're kissing the signet ring to be part of the franchise model, that is kind of how it's going to go, because they are the bosses. You know what I mean? So you're clipping in and having the right mindset. I don't want to come here saying today one is better than the other. I think that it depends on what kind of person you are. Depends on which model you're looking at. It depends on what trajectory you are in life. You know what I mean? But if you're a young entrepreneurial soul that has ideas and that has some coffee experience, I would every time encourage you to lean independent, because I think that that's probably where you're going to be best seated. The scariest part about being an independent is you're doing it alone, you know? And so that's where I feel like Coffee Experts Club, come into the pool, like come in, the water's great. I mean, come on in. Like we love people in here. We love talking through solutions. We love talking with people about how we can help better the system, and then clip into the coalition, because the benefit's going to be that hopefully, like these guys are talking about, we can get you better buying power. So I pulled up the graphic, even though it's nothing sexy to look at, because this was like first iteration of, you know, where we're going to go with it. It isn't wholly fleshed out. If you're hearing about this, you're like, yes, Aaron, sign me up today. I don't have something to sign you up today with. This is just like first iteration of artwork of what we're working on towards it. But the reason it's going to stay just black and white and very simple, because I want people to understand, we want you to keep your money. All we're doing is trying to band together to get better deals. So it would be energy drinks. Energy drinks are expensive to roll into. To go and create your own energy drink and then create enough for yourself, it's every bit worth the bang for the buck. You know what I mean? But like it's starting cost at like 30K, you know what I mean? And can go up from there depending on how many stores you have. And yeah, 30K is going to buy you 3 to 6 months worth of product. But still, for most people to pony up 30K of cash out of their pockets to try and leap out 30K into what? Just an energy drink and all my inventory? That's a big ask for somebody 1 to 3 coffee shops. So how about we let you white label it? What if we all pooled our resources together to create an energy drink that then you get the discounting of way cheaper, 3 to 4 to 5 times cheaper than you're going to find Red Bull, which is what predominant amount of indies are serving for the energy drink solution. What if we could get you that for sizably cheaper by you just white labeling it? You don't have to call it our energy drink name. Like why would we do that to you? Let's just put together an ingredient list that's proprietary and then call it whatever you want. It's your coffee shop's name energy drink, except for it's way cheaper. Another one would be Frat Mix. That's another great line item cost savings that you can do. If you can create your own Frat Mix, you can drop your cost down 3 times the amount than you're paying for some of the other bigs out there that are offering you Frat Mix. So what if we enabled you to collectively buy with us into a proprietary Frat Mix that you can white label, call it whatever. You don't have to say where you're getting your source. We're just helping you save money to put money back into your pockets to be able to open more coffee shops. Another one, like Ben had mentioned, like better bulk cup and lid costs. How can we buy collectively as that to bang down the numbers so that your per unit cost on cups and lids is cheaper? Another one would be cheaper beans, right? Like how can we get you green coffee for cheaper? Well, the way that we can do that typically is by collectively buying at bulk at a higher rate, or us being able to do things like De Los Mayas with that's down in Belize, that's in the crib of coffee surrounded by Guatemala and Honduras, where we can make connections and get it up here to bulk for cheaper. And then we're all buying in from the same pool at a lesser amount. That's the goal of something like that. And then obviously talking about things like throwing in Coffee Experts Club as people partner with us in this, you know, and the main premise, the whole thing is franchise benefits without the fees, because it's your money and it should stay that way. Like that's what we believe here on Coffee Experts. That's what we believe as part of Indie Coffee Coalition. Bottom line is it's your sweat and tears and blood, man, that built this company. Why give that away? Don't give away that real estate unless that's what you want to do. Unless you're like in a spot of, Aaron, listen, I'm tired. Like I have some money I'm trying to invest. Where should I go with that? I would say if you're tired and that's your heart, franchise model. And we partner with some great franchises. I would love to have franchise recommendations for you. I'll tee you right up to the front of the line of some great franchises that are out there. If that's not your condition, and I would say exclusively your condition, you're tired and like you just want to invest money, I would always advocate for lean indie because it's going to be a cheaper price point out of the gates. And we've got some pretty badass solutions so that you're not out there alone. You guys want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, so my personal experience working, for a mom and pop that developed slowly towards a franchise model, there was a lot of promise, there was a lot of expectation, there was a lot of hope, there was a lot of big plans that shifted because we had to become sort of a franchise model in order to fulfill those desires that we had as a company. So I think one of the biggest things that bogs people down as a business owner is the amount of money you have to spend at one time for any one thing. And the old saying is you have to spend money to make money. So in this case, you are spending money but less money, and you're making more money because you're lowering your cost of goods on the back end. And a lot of the people that I've worked with, I'm in the same boat. I'm competitive. I'm going to open up my coffee shop and I'm going to compete, and that's just kind of how it goes. And so talking to, all the business owners in the coffee sphere that I have talked to, we don't all want to band together and share ideas, but this isn't necessarily the same thing. This is nothing proprietary as far as your independent ideas go into your culture and your coffee shop and the way you do things. This is more of a back end, like pooling the resources in order to essentially, grow and scale. And when you do grow and scale, the savings, they are just exponential.
Yeah.
Think about like buying into a mutual fund,
It really is, yeah.
It's a mutual fund for your company, whereas you don't have to go out there and search and try and buy each individual stock and this and that for my retirement. I can just purchase a mutual fund where it's all tailored together, and I can have the buying power of somebody with a large bank account. It's in that sense, it's the same way. Like, we're coming together with our smaller individual resources and being able to pool that together to be able to make large purchases that benefit everybody, which is great.
Yeah. I think, realistically is like to create some of your own stuff, not only is their cost, but their minimums too, right? Where it's like, well, like how long is it going to take me to work through the Frappuccino or the Frap Mix minimum order? Like, am I going to even be able to work through whatever the minimum threshold was that they're going to charge me to make it? So let's say if I have the dollars, well, it's going to be wasted dollars if you're throwing away half your product because it ages out. Like you couldn't use it fast enough. So that's the other benefit, is if you have 1 or 2 or 3 or up to 5, I would say is the benefit of partnering with something like this is, no, tell me what threshold you need. How much threshold do you need? And then let's get you what you need, but you're still entering into the same buying power as somebody that needs 3 times that amount. Let's see. Because we're all pooling together. So I think that's the magic of it, is the guy coming in buying 3 times the value versus the person coming in buying 1 part the value. In my mind, we're all paying the same thing. We're not paying something different. I'm not going to give that guy better pricing. It's like, no, we're all coming in with this agreement. It's cost plus whatever this is, and it's the same for everybody that's there. And that's all going to be clearly lined out within the next month or so. But the beauty is that take on what you need. Like what I would always recommend, if you can buy a couple of months worth of quantities, that's going to only help you with shipping. That way it's shipping once. And if you have someplace you can hold it, if you don't, then you don't, But I would say, think about it, because I'll say for the mom and pop shops that we've seen that have created their own energy drink, that have created their own Frap Mix, you're talking about, you've already established people want your energy drinks, right? You're already selling like 500, 700, 1,000, 1,500 cups a month of all of what you're doing from energy drinks. And so you've got this cap now of, no, I know customer demand is there, and you're having to buy Red Bull or whatever your equivalent it is, like that's out there, Lotus or whatever it is that you're buying, that's justifying what you're paying for this customer load. What if we're able to drop that cost of goods down 3 times the amount, 4 times the amount, 5 times the amount, so your customer count stays here, but your COGS just drop to here, and then literally you just grew money from your existing customer demand. You've created the customer demand. You're the one bringing these people to your window. Why would you give away more money of yours that you've hard earned when you don't have to, if you can drop your COGS? And the best way to do that in my mind is create your own energy drink, create your own frat mix, take out some of the middlemen. If you can't do that, partner with us at the coalition. And I would say is, and let's earn you up to a place where you can create your own, and then let us help you create your own with DrinkWorks. That's what we do with DrinkWorks. We help people create their own coffee, their own energy drink, and their own frat mix. So we'll even dovetail you into the next season and hand you off, and then send you on your way, and man, bring you back for coffee experts to interview you as one of the amazing people that we can interview doing powerful things in the coffee industry. But I think that there's a lot of power in there when we don't stand alone. There's no reason for you not to be independent. We think that we love independence. Be independent, but band together with people that are like-minded. And like-minded is just like these guys are saying. Like, bottom line is, we all think you should hold on to your own money because we want to hold on to our own money. We get it, but
Yeah, I mean, we covered this so much in Coffee Experts Club. Just think of what you could do if you had the extra capital that you were spending on Red Bull. If you're at one location, you could be using that capital to open another location. You could be using that capital to start roasting your own coffee. You could be using these resources in so many other ways than to just shelling it out to Red Bull or shelling it out to a franchise contract. You could be growing your business much more quickly with the resources you have if you're not just dumping them down the drain. And that's not even to mention, what I always advocate for is when you have these energy drinks with frat mixes is the ability to be able to undercut your competition at the retail price point so much. I mean, think if you could come out the gate $1 cheaper than everybody around you, how quickly you can start hoovering up all of those customers in your area, and again, propelling your business and giving your business that much more momentum right out the gate versus having to wait 3-4 years before you've gained enough capital, enough resources to actually start your own energy drink, your own frat mix. If you did it right out the gate, I mean, it's like starting with 5 of your best feet forward.
And I mean, over the last couple of years, we've all felt the effects of how important it is to have a healthy supply chain. And what I've noticed is a lot of the distributors for our coffee shops are food service distributors. So it's not just specifically coffee. It'd be hard pressed to find a specific coffee distributor in any one area. And so leaning into, so we're almost a lower priority because we're not, we don't have 150 stores, we have 3 to 5 stores or 1 to 2 stores. So, having to build relationships with people who specifically do exactly what you need all of the time puts you in a much higher priority bracket than just, having a Cisco that services all of the restaurants in the area and maybe will drop off some milk and sandwiches if they have anything left for you.
Right. That's definitely true. What's Sisha doing over there?
I don't know. She's causing ruckuses.
Trying to watch some
ruckuses. I mean, can we see her? Let's see her.
Trying to watch her daytime soaps, man. Come on.
That's right, man. She stepped on the control for a reason. Hi, Sisha. What an angel.
Yeah, she's my little coffee dog.
There she is.
Okay.
Troublemaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, boys, any final thoughts just to button things up?
I think this is a great preview, a little taste and see of what's to come. I think it would be it would be so dumb to not join a coffee coalition. If it's not ours and we're not in your area, if you're on the East Coast, find something there, but give yourself the ability to compete, because that's the biggest thing that the franchises have too, is they have so many locations, so much buying power, they have brand awareness. Like, you're up against a big wall when it comes to large corporations, large franchises, Dutch Bros, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, if you're East Coast. Like, don't kick yourself out the gate, by shooting yourself in the foot. Give yourself as much of an advantage as you can get to compete and then propel your business forward right when you start. So I think it's a no-brainer in this sense.
And for me, I'm always leaning into the people side of things. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur and a visionary, you're always casting vision to all your people. And the best thing to be able to do is make that vision come true. And if you're saving money and you're able to grow and you're able to grow these people with you, they're able to grow and become, higher minded people with higher priorities, and you delegate more important tasks to them. you want to stick to your vision. And this is a fantastic way to be able to do something like that, and not necessarily, band together with the competition, but band together with like-minded people who are also determined to do exactly what you're doing.
And I think that's the key. So, I mean, there are three shops that are in right now that are making up the coalition as it is. We've got the first order of energy drinks that's going to be coming into town. I'm hoping this in the middle of October. So first round is going to be there. So the first round of benefits for these three shops is already in play. So I think that and I would just put it in your brain of, I don't know that competition is always the best way for us to frame that. It's like, I'm targeting somebody different than somebody is down the street. What makes my brand unique? What makes what we do different? And man, the commodities of it is just the commodities of it, but hopefully your culture is creating something new, something different. When I was down in Belize 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with the guy who had a coffee shop just right up the street, but he had a sit-down cafe. And the conversation I had with him is, how can I send people your way? Because I know we're not a sit-down cafe. You know what I mean? Ours, like with the ones we're targeting, is the fast moving. And we've got a whole business model of how we're targeting those fast moving and who we're partnering with to get at those kinds of people. There are going to be all kinds of people that are looking for someplace air conditioned to sit down in Belize. You have got a beautiful thing here. Like, let me push people your way. And if you see that people are starting to get restless at your joint, send them down my way. You know what I mean? Because our turn time is going to be 1 to 2 minutes. We're going to have it out because that's our model. And I just think, how can we work together as people doing similar things, but create a niche and a difference? And then just realize, like, what's going to be your magic is your magic. And don't share that with people. That's your magic. But like, how can you cut out some of the variables? Like we talked about at the beginning, we're all serving the same thing. Like nobody's serving anything that's that unique and different. We joke about it all the time because we get to see all the under the hood of all these coffee shops. We're like, oh, that's this title at that guy down the street. Oh, that's this drink up the street. Like, it's like everybody's doing something pretty dang similar. So how can you drop your cogs for the sake of growing cash in your business, and then create a culture that's going to make your business uniquely different? I think that's the biggest thing. There's that coffee shop up there in the Tri-Cities. What's it called? Novel.
Yep.
I mean, what a cool idea. Like the whole thing they've wrapped around books and everything that, they started in a library, and that was their first like coffee cart. And then they got their own building and they're doing like, awesome. And your thing is books. I love that. I would never do something built on books. That's not my jam at all. You know what I mean? But that's awesome. There are other ones, I met when Drew and I, when you were up at Coffee Fest last year with me, like we met that gal that coupled all of her stuff with boba. Like her whole coffee model was built off boba. That is so awesome. I would never serve boba. That is incredible, man. Ride that thing out. That's amazing. But like, find your niche, find your thing, find what makes you special and lean into that. And then find people that you can partner with that are like-minded, and don't get your tail feathers all ruffled on their competition. They're not, it's okay. Like, is your thing special enough that you're confident enough that you can stand on your own 2 feet and pedal it? Then start a business and realize there are going to be other people out there. They're going to serve things very similar to yours. Make yours special, make it unique. But yeah,
into that.
I'm excited about it. Drew, I mean, it's not too many weeks before we're going to be talking to you in Belize, right? Like next week, you're hiking Grand Canyon. Is that a true story?
Yep. And I'll be over there for about a week and a half, and then I'll be down in Belize.
So like, seriously, in two coffee experts clubs, you're going to be joining us probably from the competitor right down the street at his coffee shop.
Probably. I'll be like, man, our Wi-Fi is not installed yet. So,
so man, huge props to the spot. The place is called The Spot on Burns Avenue there in San Ignacio, Belize, man, because we're going to probably be sitting at your coffee shop in just a couple of weeks to a Coffee Experts Club. But anyway, sure grateful to have you two dudes. I love getting to talk coffee with you guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in for Coffee Experts, and we'll see you next week for an amazing interview. The guy we're interviewing next week is badass. Don't miss it. Talk to you guys.
Yes.
Bye, guys.